Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful. The moment you rise, the moment you shine, the moment you dare to live differently, not everyone will clap for you. Some will cheer, but others, oh, they'll whisper, they'll roll their eyes, they'll throw little jabs meant to cut you down. Why? Because your light exposes their shadows. Today, I'm going to reveal the 9 things jealous people always say, so the next time you hear them, instead of doubting yourself, you'll recognize them for what they really are. Proof that you're winning. When you shine, when you rise, when you grow into the person you're meant to be, not everyone will clap for you. Some people will feel threatened, small, or insecure in your light. Instead of working on themselves, they'll project their discomfort onto you. They'll use words to cut you down, to dim your confidence, to make you second guess the very thing that makes you powerful. And if you're not careful, those words can creep into your mind and start shaping how you see yourself. But here's the truth, what they say is never about you. It's a mirror reflecting their own fears, doubts, and limitations. Jealousy often shows up in disguise, masked as casual remarks, little jabs, or backhanded compliments. Let's talk about 9 things jealous people always say, and let's break them apart so you never let them sink into your soul. The first thing you'll hear is, you're just lucky. As if everything you've worked for, the nights you sacrificed, the failures you picked yourself up from, all of it boils down to luck. No, luck didn't get you here. Choices did, discipline did, courage did. Saying it's luck is their way of dismissing your effort because they don't want to face their own lack of action. Remember, this luck may open a door, but it's your preparation and persistence that allow you to walk through it. The second phrase is, it must be nice. Notice how this drips with bitterness. It's not a genuine compliment, it's envy wrapped in sarcasm. They see your new car, your success, your relationship, and they reduce it to something unattainable for them. Instead of asking, how did you do it? They sigh, it must be nice. What they really mean is, I don't believe I can have that too. Their words aren't about your life. They're about their belief in their own limits. Don't let their tone plant seeds of guilt for the blessings you've earned. Third, you'll hear, you've changed. Yes, of course you've changed. That's the whole point of growth. You're not supposed to stay the same person you were 5 years ago. They don't like the new version of you because it reminds them they're standing still. Change threatens people who cling to comfort zones. Instead of celebrating your evolution, they criticize it. Wear that label proudly. You've changed should be music to your ears because it means you've grown beyond the box they tried to keep you in. The fourth thing jealous people say is, you think you're better than everyone else. They confuse confidence with arrogance because your self-belief makes them uncomfortable. Owning your worth doesn't mean you think you're above others. It means you've finally stopped putting yourself below. But to someone who struggles with self-esteem, your confidence feels like competition. Don't shrink to make them comfortable. Their discomfort is an invitation for them to work on themselves, not for you to dim your light. Number 5, anyone could have done that. Dismissal at its finest. They'll act like your achievement is ordinary. Like what you built, created, or accomplished wasn't unique. But here's the truth. They didn't do it. They didn't take the risk. They didn't put in the hours. They didn't show up when it was hard. Anyone could, but only you did. That distinction matters. Don't let their attempt to trivialize your success erase the courage it took to get there. The 6th thing they say is, you got help. Of course you did. No one succeeds entirely alone. We all need mentors, teachers, friends, or even strangers who open doors along the way. They use this line to imply your success isn't legitimate, as if support cancels out effort. But they forget they had access to help too. The difference is, you took advantage of it. You asked, you learned, you allowed yourself to be guided. They see receiving help as weakness. You know it's wisdom. 7th, they'll whisper, you don't deserve it. This one cuts deep because it's an attack on your worth. They project their own feelings of inadequacy onto you, trying to convince you you've taken something that should belong to someone else. But success isn't a pie with limited slices. Your achievement doesn't take away from theirs. The fact that they can't see this only highlights their scarcity mindset. You deserve what you've worked for, what you've earned, and what you've aligned your life toward. Period. The 8th phrase is, it won't last. They predict your downfall because deep down, they're hoping for it. They can't stand the thought of your consistency proving them wrong, so they comfort themselves with the belief that your season of success is temporary. Let them think that. Let them watch while you continue to rise day after day, year after year. The best answer to, it won't last, is quiet, steady endurance. Show them through your actions that you're not a trend, you're a force. And finally, the 9th thing jealous people always say is, you're so lucky to have time, money, connections, talent, whatever excuse they cling to. They fixate on one thing you have, pretending that's the reason for your success, so they don't have to face the truth. You use what you had differently than they did. Maybe you didn't start with much. Maybe you did. But you leveraged it, you maximized it, you pushed yourself to turn a little into a lot. That's not luck, that's choice. And deep down they know it. Every time these words come at you, pause and remember. They're not about you, they're about the speaker. Words of jealousy are confessions of insecurity. They're coded messages revealing where someone feels they've fallen short. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to prove anything. All you need to do is keep moving, keep growing, keep shining. Because their words only have power if you let them settle inside you. And you're far too powerful for that. And you're far too powerful for that. When jealousy shows up in your life, it's a test of perspective. Will you absorb it and let it weaken your spirit, or will you recognize it for what it really is? Proof that you're moving. Proof that you're doing something worth noticing. The truth is, people don't get jealous of mediocrity. No one envies someone who stays small, invisible, or silent. Jealousy is a reaction you trigger by stepping outside the ordinary, by daring to create a life that challenges the expectations others have settled into. Understand this, jealousy often comes disguised as advice. Someone may say, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" Or, "I just don't want you to get hurt." On the surface, it sounds like concern, but underneath, it's fear. Fear that you might succeed beyond what they ever imagined possible. Their so-called caution is really a reflection of their own limitations. They want you to doubt yourself because your certainty makes them question why they've hesitated so long. Sometimes jealousy shows up in silence too. You'll notice who doesn't clap when you win, who scrolls past your good news without acknowledgement, who suddenly disappears when your life starts expanding. Pay attention, because silence can speak louder than words. Their refusal to celebrate you reveals more about them than it does about you. But don't let that silence harden your heart. Let it remind you that not everyone is meant to be in your front row. Some people are only equipped to watch from a distance, and that's okay. What jealous people never realize is that their words reveal their own inner world. When they say, "You're lucky," they're really saying, "I feel powerless." When they say, "It must be nice," they're really saying, "I don't believe I can have that too." When they say, "You've changed," they're admitting, "I'm afraid to." Every phrase, every jab, every whisper, they're unintentional confessions. And when you learn to decode them, you stop taking them personally. You start to see jealousy as a language of pain, not truth. The danger comes when you start internalizing those words. Because if you hear, "You don't deserve it," often enough you might start questioning yourself. If you hear, "It won't last," long enough you may start worrying about when the shoe will drop. This is why awareness is your armor. The moment those words hit you, pause and remind yourself, this isn't mine to carry. This is theirs. You have to build a filter in your mind that separates projection from reality, insecurity from wisdom, jealousy from truth. And here's another layer. Jealousy isn't always external. Sometimes, the voice of jealousy creeps inside your own head. You may catch yourself thinking, "Maybe I don't deserve this. Maybe it won't last. Maybe I'm not good enough." Recognize that for what it is. Your inner critic echoing the doubts of others. That voice is not who you are. It's a collection of old beliefs, fears, and comparisons. And just like you dismiss the jealous words of others, you must dismiss the jealous whispers within yourself. Every great achiever has faced jealousy. Every artist, every leader, every innovator has been told they were lucky, undeserving, arrogant, or temporary. But here's the difference. They didn't let those words stop them. They used them as fuel. They let the criticism sharpen their focus instead of dulling their edge. And that's the choice you get to make. You can absorb jealousy like poison, or you can use it like fire. Notice how the people who criticize the most are often the ones doing the least. Those who are building, creating, and striving rarely have time to tear others down. They understand the cost of growth, so they respect it in others. But those who sit idle, those who avoid risk, they're the ones who point fingers, because it's easier to judge than to act. When you remember this, jealousy stops feeling like an attack and starts feeling like evidence. Evidence that you're moving forward while they're standing still. The next time someone throws a jealous comment your way, imagine it bouncing off you, falling flat to the ground where it belongs. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain. Your success is the proof. Your consistency is the answer. The more you stay focused on your path, the less power their words hold. Over time, they'll see that what they tried to diminish has only grown stronger. Keep in mind, too, that jealousy is often a compliment in disguise. People don't waste energy envying something meaningless. If someone is jealous, it means you have something they admire, whether they admit it or not. Maybe it's your drive, your discipline, your vision, your courage, or simply your refusal to give up. Instead of shrinking from jealousy, wear it as a signpost. It means you're living in a way that stirs others, even if it unsettles them. And when jealousy comes from people close to you, friends, family, colleagues, it can hurt the most. But even then, you must stand tall. Their jealousy doesn't mean you should stop. It means you've touched a nerve, awakened something inside them that says, I could be doing more. Sometimes your success is the mirror they've avoided looking into. Don't break that mirror for their comfort. Keep reflecting what's possible. Because even if they resist, even if they criticize, some part of them is being challenged to rise. So when jealous words come your way, let them roll off your shoulders. Smile if you can. And remind yourself that you're not here to please those who fear your light. You're here to shine. Every phrase they throw at you is just another confirmation that you're stepping into your greatness, and greatness will always stir envy in those who haven't yet claimed their own. Every phrase they throw at you is just another confirmation that you're stepping into your greatness, and greatness will always stir envy in those who haven't yet claimed their own. Think about it. Jealousy only exists in the presence of progress. If you were still where you were years ago, no one would have anything to comment on. The whispers, the comments, the little digs, those don't show up in stillness, they show up in motion. Jealousy follows momentum like a shadow follows light. So instead of dreading it, reframe it. Let it remind you that you're moving forward, that your life is expanding, that your choices are shaking the air around you enough for people to notice. One of the most powerful things you can do is separate yourself from their perspective. Their jealousy doesn't mean you're too much, it means they feel too little. Their resistance doesn't mean you're on the wrong path, it means you're on a path they're afraid to walk. When you anchor yourself in this understanding, you stop bending, apologizing, or explaining yourself to people who have no intention of cheering you on. You free yourself to focus entirely on building the life you were meant to live. And here's the reality. Jealousy doesn't just happen in response to your big milestones. It happens in the small things too. You start a new habit, you set a boundary, you begin taking care of yourself differently, and suddenly someone feels the need to comment. They see you choosing discipline while they're stuck in cycles they can't break, and it triggers them. You may hear it in their jokes, their sarcasm, or their offhand remarks. Don't get distracted. Don't waste your energy trying to convince them to understand. Every ounce of energy spent defending your choices is energy stolen from making progress. The more you rise, the more you'll encounter people who underestimate what it took to get there. They'll overlook the times you showed up when no one was watching, the hours you put in when it felt pointless, the tears, the doubts, the sacrifices. Instead, they'll reduce your story to luck, timing, or some external factor. That's because acknowledging your effort would mean admitting what's possible for them. And that's often too heavy for people to face. But you don't need their recognition. You didn't climb for applause. You climbed because something inside you refused to stay on the ground. Sometimes jealousy shows up as comparison disguised as curiosity. People will ask, "How did you do it?" But not because they want to learn. They want to measure themselves against you, to calculate why they're not where you are. You'll sense it in the way they ask, in the tone they use. And you'll know the difference between genuine curiosity and veiled envy. Be generous with wisdom when you feel the sincerity, but don't waste your breath on those who only seek confirmation for their excuses. Here's the truth about jealous people. They rarely see the process, only the result. They look at the finished product, the outcome, the highlight, and they assume it appeared overnight. What they don't see are the sleepless nights, the doubts you fought, the setbacks that nearly broke you. And that's why their words cannot carry weight. They're not commenting on your reality. They're commenting on an illusion they've created about your reality. That illusion is theirs to wrestle with, not yours to carry. When jealousy comes, you must remind yourself of the cost of your journey. Every step you've taken, every obstacle you've overcome, every fear you've silenced, those are receipts of your worth. You didn't stumble into where you are. You fought for it, you chose it, you earned it. And no amount of dismissive words can erase that truth. But let's take it deeper. Sometimes the jealousy of others is a preview of the resistance you'll face at higher levels. If you can't handle the whispers now, how will you handle the shouts later? If the small comments throw you off balance, how will you withstand the storms that come with greater visibility, greater success, greater influence? Every jealous remark you encounter now is training. It's preparing you to develop the skin, the focus, and the resilience you'll need when your platform grows even larger. Jealousy will try to make you question yourself, but remember, this doubt is contagious, and so is belief. When someone tries to hand you their doubt, you don't have to accept it. You can choose belief instead. Belief in your process, belief in your vision, belief in the quiet voice inside you that knows you're capable of more. That belief is your shield, and it's stronger than any jealous word that comes your way. And one day, those same people who doubted you may turn around and ask for your guidance. They may come quietly, humbly, and say, "How did you do it?" This time, it will sound different. It won't be laced with sarcasm or comparison. It will be genuine, born from the realization that your example has shown them what's possible. That's the hidden gift of jealousy. Sometimes, your success becomes the catalyst for someone else's awakening. So don't resent the jealousy. Don't fear it. Recognize it for what it is, proof that you've stepped into a higher frequency, one that shakes people awake. Some will resist, some will criticize, some will walk away, but others will eventually rise because of you. And through it all, your job is to keep going, keep shining, keep choosing to live fully, no matter what words come your way. And through it all, your job is to keep going, keep shining, keep choosing to live fully, no matter what words come your way. Because here's what you have to understand: jealousy is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their wound. People project their own struggles onto you because it's easier than facing themselves. When they say, "You're lucky," they're not talking about your luck. They're talking about their frustration with not moving forward. When they sigh, "It must be nice," they're not commenting on your life. They're revealing their dissatisfaction with their own. Once you truly grasp this, you stop giving away your power. You stop personalizing comments that were never about you in the first place. The greatest danger of jealousy is not that it shows up. It always will. But that it tries to persuade you to shrink. It whispers, "Tone it down. Don't stand out too much. Don't shine too brightly." Because the brighter you shine, the more you expose what others refuse to face. But if you shrink, if you silence yourself, if you dim your light, you rob the world of the very thing you were put here to give. Jealousy wants you small. Purpose demands you bold. Think of the people you admire most. The leaders, the dreamers, the trailblazers, they all walked through seas of jealousy. People doubted them, ridiculed them, dismissed them. And yet, they refused to shrink. They understood that the resistance wasn't a stop sign, it was a signal. A signal that they were disrupting the comfort of the ordinary. And disruption always stirs discomfort. The question isn't whether people will talk. The question is whether you will keep walking. Jealous people often try to frame their envy as honesty. They'll say things like, "I'm just telling you the truth," or "I'm only being real." But their truth isn't the truth, it's their version of reality, colored by fear, insecurity, and limitation. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to carry it. The only truth that matters is the one you choose to believe about yourself, the one you build with your actions, the one you prove day after day. And when those jealous words sting, and sometimes they will, use that sting as fuel. Let it remind you of your mission. Let it sharpen your focus. The very fact that people have opinions about your journey means you're visible. You're noticeable. You're living a life that sparks reaction. That's not something to hide from. That's confirmation you're alive in a way many people never allow themselves to be. Some will say, "You think you're better than us?" Because they mistake your growth for arrogance. But what they don't realize is that your growth doesn't take anything from them. Your win doesn't equal their loss. Your expansion doesn't equal their contraction. There's room at the table for everyone. But until they believe that, they'll keep seeing your success as a threat. Don't waste time trying to prove otherwise. Keep building your table. One day, they'll realize there was always a seat waiting for them if they chose to rise. You'll also encounter people who pretend not to notice. They'll avoid mentioning your progress, change the subject when you bring up your goals, or act like what you've achieved is no big deal. That silence can feel heavy, but don't mistake it for a lack of worth. Their refusal to acknowledge you doesn't erase your achievement. Sometimes people stay quiet not because they don't see your success, but because it magnifies their own lack of action. The higher you climb, the more selective you must become with your circle. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not everyone is capable of holding your vision with respect. It's not about arrogance, it's about protection. Protecting your peace, your focus, your mission. You can love people from a distance. You can wish them well, but you don't have to carry their jealousy with you into the next level of your journey. And here's the beautiful paradox. Sometimes jealousy is the first step people take before admiration. They resist you, they criticize you, they question you. But as they watch you stay consistent, as they watch you keep rising despite their words, some of them will eventually shift. What began as envy can transform into respect. What started as bitterness can turn into inspiration. You may never hear them admit it, but your persistence can plant a seed in them that eventually blooms. Until then, you must stay anchored in who you are. Every jealous comment is an opportunity to practice self-trust. Every dismissive remark is a chance to deepen your resilience. Every attempt to dim your light is a reminder to shine even brighter. Jealousy cannot survive in the presence of someone who knows their worth and refuses to apologize for it. So the next time you hear those familiar phrases, "You're lucky," "It must be nice," "You've changed," "Anyone could do that," pause and translate them. Hear what's really being said underneath. And then choose not to carry it. Choose to walk forward lighter, stronger, clearer. Because their words don't define your path, you do. And your path is far too important to be slowed down by voices that were never meant to guide you in the first place.